Part 8, Overcoming the Machine Objection Call Guide. This series will give you the edge to recognize and then achieve your goals through its philosophy of constant, never-ending improvement. Strategies that will become a fluid part of who you are. Maximize your true potential. Strategies for success. Your first step to success, beyond your imagination.
Welcome back. Hey, thanks for your time. Now today we're going to talk to you about the machine objection. Again, it's very important that we can overcome that objection. It's a very common one. But let's do a quick review on the 5 questions of concern. Basically, when we open up this phone call, we're going to go right to what? Make sure we get control of the customer's time. In other words, we're calling them up, they answer the telephone. Hey, did I get you at a pretty good time? Yeah, you did get me at a pretty good time. Fantastic. I know you were out looking at our vehicle last night, and I want to tell you first off, hey, I appreciate you coming out and working with me and helping you educate your process. Because it is a big decision that you're going through. But sometimes my customers will actually go home and a question or two will pop up in their minds, and I was a little concerned about you this morning. Did you have any questions about our vehicle since you went home last night? Again, we're using our call guy. He's going to come back and say either yes or no. If he says yes, well, guess what? Here's your opportunity to do what? Handle that question. If he says no, come back and say, well, great, I'm glad. I really pride myself on really trying to educate my customers so when they do go home, they're very well informed. So it makes me feel like I did my job right. By the way, did you like the vehicle that we looked at last night? Oh, yeah, we loved the vehicle we looked at last night. It was very nice, yada, yada, yada. They're going to tell you why they like the vehicle. Well, good, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I could sense from talking to you last night that you really did enjoy the vehicle. Again, I'm going to pace them. I'm going to pace before and pace after the question. The next question is this. Hey, by the way, what were you comparing it to? Oh, we were comparing it to this vehicle. Well, good for you. You're doing your homework. That makes all the sense in the world. And I can't really blame you for doing that, Obviously, it makes good sense. What impressed you, though? The next question. What really impressed you about our vehicle when you drove our vehicle? I was impressed with the performance. I was impressed with the safety rating. I was impressed with whatever they tell you. And pace it. Hey, good for you, man. I can tell, just from talking to you and from last night, that you are really doing your homework and you're trying to make a decision that's really the best one for both you and your family. My hat's off to you. Good job. Hey, by the way, what was the one thing, my last question, right? What was the one thing that prevented you from just going forward and buying the vehicle last night when you're here? Well, the fact of the matter is we haven't driven this vehicle yet. Okay, I understand. Well, you seem like you're the kind of person that wants to really gather up their information, and make a logical decision. Am I reading you right? Now, first of all, time out. Who would say no to that question? Does anyone out there would ever say, no, I'm not that kind of person? I'm the kind of person that makes quick, bad decisions and kicks myself later? Of course, no one would say that. We want to say, hey, listen, you know what? You seem like you're the kind of person that you want to do your homework and really educate yourself in the process before making a logical decision. Am I reading you right? That's right. Now listen, everybody, when they go through the process of buying a car, whether you believe this or not, this is the reality of it all. There's a science out there called neuro-linguistic programming. It's a big science. It's a science of human communication. And what this science has done is it's been very good at identifying people's way of buying. In other words, everyone has if you will, a recipe for making a decision. And when they come out to our dealership and they look at our vehicle, they went through this process. Imagine, if you will, in your mind's eye, okay, you have a filing cabinet. In this filing cabinet, it's broken into several different categories. Maybe this was, fuel economy. Maybe this was safety. Maybe this was whatever it was, okay? But when this is filled like this, when they leave, they know in their mind that they've gotten all the information that they need to make a quality decision. So now what they're going to do is take this same recipe, if you will, to the next dealership. And they're going to go ahead and do the same thing in terms of gathering up their information. So when I say to the customer, you seem like you're the kind of person that, really lays out, kind of a plan and really wants to gather up all their facts and figures before making a final selection, am I reading it right? Of course they're going to say yeah. And if they're not, it's going to tell them that maybe, we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. All right? And they'll feel good about that as well. But again, getting an understanding of that here. Now, what we want to do is we want to kind of pre-frame this customer. What does a pre-frame mean? Well, take a look. Pre means what? It means before. And a frame means what? A frame of a picture. We want to actually do a pre-picture of a future pace, we call it. So we want to give a pre-picture of a future event. Does that make sense? Well, how's that going to work, Ken? Well, I'll tell you specifically how it works. So you know, obviously you want to do your homework and gather up all your information to make a quality decision. Am I reading you right? Exactly what I want to do. Okay, super. Because sometimes you go out to a dealership environment and you run into a salesperson and maybe even a manager, and you begin to feel a lot of pressure to make a decision before you're really ready. And if that was to happen to you, what do you think you would do? Now again, I'm asking the question, what do you think you would do? I didn't say, if that happens to you, I want you to get up out of your chair and get the heck out of there. Because listen, it's an amazing thing. If I tell you what to do, you won't do it. But if I ask you the question, in other words, if I say to you, if you're out there and you begin to feel a lot of pressure and uncomfortable, what would you do? And it's their idea to say, well, if that happens to me, I'm not going to put up with it. I'll get up and get the heck out of there. And just come back and affirm that. Hey, listen, and I appreciate that. And I would never dream of doing something like that to you myself. Now stop. What we've done here is we've actually laid the foundation that he's going to do his homework, and he agreed to that. Then we want to pre-frame an event that has not happened, but we know with a high probability that it's going to happen. Let's face it. And perception is what? Is reality. Would you agree? So what we do is we paint the picture. If you're out there and you're doing your homework and you begin to feel a lot of pressure from the salesman or maybe even the manager, what would you do? And he says to you, I'd get up and leave. We've pre-programmed an event that has not yet happened, but we've had him finish the program. So when this begins to happen in the future, the program begins to run, and what's going to happen? He'll do as he said he's going to do. Now, I'll give you an example of this. The power of me asking you the question and having you finish it for me is strong. For example, let's say you're at my house, and we're having dinner. And we're in my kitchen, you know, we're cooking up some steaks, whatever, and we go down in my living room, and we're having a nice little bite to eat. And you go, hey, by the way, hey, where's your salt and pepper? And I say, if you go back in my kitchen, above my coffee maker, you'll find a cabinet. Open it up, and you'll see the salt and pepper right in front. And as the guy begins to get up and walk to the kitchen, he says to himself, I mean, why didn't he get it for me? I don't live here. You know, I'm not going to find the stupid salt and pepper. As he's walking to the kitchen, he gets to the kitchen, does what? Opens up the cabinet, and he's looking all over, and he says, hey, I can't find the salt and pepper. So guess what? I get up, I walk in the kitchen, and I say, hey, it's right here. If it would have been a snake, it would have what? Bit you. We've heard that before. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that he actually saw the salt and pepper? Or was it not visible to his eyes? No, his eyes saw it. But this is called a scotoma. What his brain did, actually, is caused a blind spot. And that blind spot is called a scotoma. His brain said, keep yourself true to yourself. So even though he said he wanted salt and pepper, as he walked to the kitchen, he said, I'm not going to find the salt and pepper. So be very careful on what you tell yourself, because your brain will want to keep you true to yourself. You can lie to me all you want, but you can't lie to yourself, if that makes sense. Thus, it caused a little blind spot there. Most importantly, to get to the car business now. All right? I'm going to pre-frame and future pace you. Okay? And when doing so, I'm causing you to program your mind for this event. And guess what happens then? Look in your workbook. When that happens, tell them, hey, listen, and I would never treat you that way. I'm only a phone call away. Hey, just give me a call. And I'd love to help you any way I can. And you'd be surprised. Just try this. People will call you all the time. Hey, now, by the way, what we want to do here is we want to recap again and do what number 4 says, is remind them of a concern. And only you know this. When the customer is out to your dealership and they're doing their homework, and through your dialogue, you may have found an area of their business that they're trying to accomplish. Maybe it was they wanted chrome wheels, or they wanted a bed liner put in, or they wanted a trailer hitch put on, or they wanted whatever they wanted, okay? We want to remind them of an area they had a concern with that maybe we didn't answer completely or as thorough as we could. Or maybe we did some more homework about, oh, who knows, extended warranty or whatever. We want to remind them of this here. Or maybe they said they wanted to have a 6 CD changer put in their vehicle. It could be a million different variables, okay? But what we want to do is we want to remind them of a concern. And why we want to do that is simply for this reason. In their mind, they thought their filing cabinet was completely full. But by reminding them of an area, we are putting on a filing cabinet that is not full. They thought it was full, but it's not. So there's actually a question mark here. Hey, by the way, you had asked me to check into a couple of things concerning the extended warranty and the bed liner here. And I got some information for you here, but remind me to show it to you when you're coming back out. I'm planting a seed of what? They're coming back out. So when they actually left our store last night, they thought they had it completely filled, but they didn't. Well, they did, but we actually created some doubt in their mind now. So he gets out to our dealership, and he goes through the process, and he hears this as he walks in. How you doing? Here to buy a car today? Hey, how much money you want to spend? What's your credit look like? Hey, where's your trade? What do you owe on it? And I'm kidding, but that's happening in the first maybe 3 to 5 minutes. By planting the seed, by pre-framing and future pacing the customer, do you think they may begin to feel pressure already within the 3 to 5 minutes? Absolutely. See, the person looks at their spouse and says, hey, honey, you know, let's go back down and see Ken at ABC. I'll tell you what, he was so much nicer. And again, it's the perception. Maybe there wouldn't have been a perception of high pressure at all if I wouldn't have planted the seed. But in our dealerships, you'd be surprised. Customer after customer comes back and says, you were right. We went down to the XYZ dealership, and guess what? We're coming back to you to buy your car. The first thing out of their mouth was checking our credit and all this and that. Okay, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's a better way of just asking without pacing. Make sense? Okay, so we create some doubt. And then what do? We want to set an appointment after they go to the competition. Now, that's awfully strange, you may be thinking to yourself. Why do we want to set an appointment after? Well, because, remember the reason they didn't buy from us the first time, remember, they were here already. They were TO'd. They went home. The reason they went home was why? Because they haven't driven the competition. If we bring them back in before they drive, what's going to be their objection again? The competition still. So let them drive the competition, but let's set them up the best way we can for failure. Does that make sense? Plant that seed, pre-frame them, future pace them, dial them up, set them up for that failure. Let us be the hero. You want to be the hero. And the way you do that is how I'm talking about right here. Does it make sense? Oh, by the way, when were you planning on going out and actually looking at the XYZ vehicle? We're planning on going out tomorrow. Oh, really? You're thinking tomorrow morning, afternoon, or evening? Remember how we set appointments with the or statement? Tomorrow morning, afternoon, or evening? In the afternoon? Okay, great. You're thinking early or late? Again, the or statement. Late, huh? So you're thinking around what time? Around 5 o'clock. Okay. Well, you spent about an hour with me yesterday. You think you'll probably spend about an hour with them as well? Probably, huh? Okay, so you go from 5 to, say, 6 o'clock? I'll tell you what we'll do here. I got some time set aside around 6:15, east-west, remember, 15:45, and bring them back into your dealership. You know, I'm not going to waste your time. I want to put some time aside at 6:15. That way I can bring you in. I can recap again the bed liner, recap some extended warranty information. I'll get you in and get you out here in about 20, 30 minutes on the outside. I won't waste your time. So how's that sound? Good. You got a pen handy? I'll wait for you to grab it. Again, use the old embedded command again. Excellent. Mark them down. Okay, again, you know where we're located, don't you? Fantastic. Again, we're next to the XYZ restaurant. When you come back out here, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 6:15. So again, the machine objection is key. It's fundamental. There are 5 key questions we want to ask here. Again, open up the call using our pacing and leading. Go through our 5 questions. That'll get you at a good time. Did you like the vehicle? Compared to what? What surprised you? What was the one thing that prevented you? Those are our 5 key questions. Then we're going to get into the machine objection. We want to pace, 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 lead, and go through. I know it's a good idea to do your homework. That makes good sense. I'd do the same thing if I was in your shoes. Then go into the no pressure process. I'm not going to pressure you, obviously, but if you get out to a dealership and you begin to feel the pressure, what would you do? Create that pre-frame and future pace. Hey, listen, I'm only a phone call away. Give me a call. I'd love to help you any way I can. The last thing I want to do is put any pressure on you. Hey, by the way, remind the customer now of the area of concern, whatever it is, and then set the appointment after they drive the competition. I'll tell you what, this is a phenomenal tool. It works. But guess what? It takes practice, practice, and practice. I wasn't born with these skills. I took time out and practiced, and practiced. You know what? I had a huge why, and I needed to be successful in this little area of the world in the car business. So I had to work at it, like anybody else has to. But you know what? Watch this again and again and again. Listen to the different paces that I'm using. You can have them. They're yours. Take them. I want you to be successful at them, okay? And as you apply this, let me know also some of the successes that you've heard from it, okay? Hey, listen, I appreciate your time today, and enjoy it. Have a great day.